What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Van Wilder freshman year. So up until this year, I didn't even know there were any sequels to Van Wilder. And surprisingly enough, there's actually two. Um, I haven't seen the second one, and that might seem crazy that I jumped to the third one before seeing the second one, but the third one's a prequel, so it doesn't matter continuity wise. But yeah, I was like looking up Van Wilder for some reason, and I found out that there were some sequels, and I I, I I've kind of wanted to check them out, and I was browsing Freevee the other day, and you know this movie Van Wilder freshman year happened to be on there, so I'm like, definitely it's free. It's a prequel, so it's like if I don't see the second one, I'm not missing out. So it's like might as well check it out. And the thing is, um, just to give you all my overall opinion, I was not a huge fan of this. I thought it was kind of lame. There were some fun moments. That it was a decent enough time, but overall it was just pretty lackluster, and I was kind of bored. Other than a few funny scenes, I was kind of bored. But the first Van Wilder, I'm a huge fan of. I've seen that movie a million times. I absolutely love that movie. I mean, why else would I check out the sequels if I don't like it? Actually, I mean, sometimes I'll check out sequels of movies that I'm not like huge on, but the first Van Wilder, I'm just an absolute huge fan of. There's like not a lot of movies that I've seen like countless times. Like I've seen that movie a lot. I really like that movie. There's something about it. It's just I don't know. I feel like that's not a movie that gets talked about a lot. Like, you hear about like the American Pie movies and stuff like that in terms of like college party movies of that era. They get talked about more, which I'm a huge fan of that franchise. And actually, that franchise has a bunch of like spin-off movies, which this is maybe you could consider this a spin-off. The American Pie franchise has a bunch of like direct to DVD spin-off movies, and I own all those. I actually like them a lot. Like, I might get a lot of haters because of that, because I'm pretty sure like a ton of people just think those are trash. I mean, yeah, they're lower budget. They're not like as iconic as the four films in the original franchise, but I have fun with all the you know direct to DVD American Pie spin-offs. And that's why I was like kind of open to seeing this. I'm like, well, I like those. I have a fun time with those. So maybe I'll have a fun time with this. And this was not as good as those, in my opinion. But it did actually have a couple actors from those movies. So the guy who plays Stifler's cousin, he was in this. He was like a ROTC guy, and then in the one, I forgot which one was. I think it was called Beta House. There's this one like husky dude. He's in this. He's like also a ROTC guy. So it was cool seeing them. But yeah, I didn't think this was as good as those. Like I said, there was a couple funny moments, but overall, I wasn't really blown away with this. I didn't hate it, but like I would definitely not watch it again. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much my opinion. I'm gonna get into a little plot summary. So it starts out. Uh, Van is the valedictorian of his high school, which I don't know how that makes sense because he's like a total slacker in the original movie, and he's in college for 7 years, but whatever. And he's you know getting ahead on the podium, like basically like from Police Academy. So I mean that was cool, and he's just like his delivery is really funny during the speech because of course he's getting touched in a sensitive area there, so he's like, "Ah," you know, like his vocal inflection is all over the place when he's giving his speech. But I mean, he still kills it. You know, he keeps his composure. But anyways, you know, he graduates, and then he goes to Coolidge because it's a family tradition. Because you know his dad's balling and stuff. He's like, "Dad, let me just work for you." He's like, "Why do I gotta do all this college BS? Like, let me just work for you and make some fat stacks." But his dad's like, "No, it is tradition. You must go to Coolidge College." And then he goes there, and there's all these ROTC fools. Like he thinks it's gonna be a fun time because when his dad went there, it was like a total party school in the 70s, and then now they're cracking down. Like there's a like initially like in the beginning of the movie, there's a sign. It's like no drinking, no smoking, no kissing. Like it doesn't even say like no sex. It's like no kissing. Like they're in like middle school or something. But I don't know. That was kind of funny. But yeah, like the whole like the dean of the school is this military guy, and for some reason everybody in the school is like in ROTC, which like again like the valedictorian thing doesn't make sense because I mean in the original movie there's no ROTC stuff, but I guess you know after he defeated them in this movie they just totally went away, and even though the whole school was ROTC, now it's just a regular school, but it was a regular school before. I don't know, but anyways, he's beefing with these ROTC cats, and he's trying to get this one ROTC guy's girl, and I've said ROTC 50 million times. You know, take a drink every time I say ROTC. No, I'm just playing. But anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna start calling them like army dudes or something. But I mean they're not army dudes. But they're like army dudes in training. They're like they're like about to be army dudes. But anyways, yeah, he's beefing with them. He's trying to steal the dude's girl. The one dude, he's not like giving it to his girl like that. She's not like she like sexually satisfied because this fool is just trying to watch war movies and shoot off his gun in his dorm room instead of getting with his like fine girlfriend. But hey, whatever. To each his own. So she's all like sexually frustrated, and then she ends up getting with Van, and then the dean can't kick out Van because since he's like a legacy admission, but he like tries to make his stay terrible, and Van's like causing all kinds of trouble in the neighborhood, pulling all these pranks. So like yeah, the dean hates him, and then eventually at the end they just do this whole like capture the flag game, and there's like a whole bet, and if the dean loses he has to resign, which I don't know why he would agree to that, but he does. And then basically he loses and resigns, and that's the movie. Yeah, so that's the basic plot. I'm gonna get into my likes here. So, you know, I talked about the opening scene where he's getting that sloppy toppy while giving his graduation speech. That was fun. There's this one sequence where he's like, you know, stealing every single girl's sex toy, because like all the girls at this school are like totally, they're like, they're all like super Christian, super religious, and they're all like abstaining from sex, but they got like the craziest sex toys. They got like 3 foot long dildos going on, all kinds of like vibrators, and there's this whole sequence where they're like stealing them and blah blah blah, and like he hears like this one vibrating noise, and then he like goes to like, you know, snatch up the sex toy, but it turns out it's just this girl's like electronic toothbrush, and he's like, hey, remember to floss. So that was funny. I like that whole sequence. You get to see how you know, because he's got like the bulldog in the first movie. You get to see how he gets the bulldog. You get to see how he gets his golf cart. That's cool. I like that. I mean, it's like nothing crazy. It's like he just gets those things, but it's cool that, you know, there's some connective tissue. It's like, oh, you know, that's in the first movie. Oh, he first gets his dog. He first gets his golf cart. Cool. And then there's this sequence where, so there's this guy, one of Van's homies. His name is Yu, and he gets with this this one chick, and she's like about to give the dean a little massage, and then she's like, "You want a happy ending?" And then she puts like a blindfold on him, and then she just gets puts peanut butter on his thing, and then gets Van's dog to give him that sloppy toppy. That was hilarious. Yeah, that's what, like, this movie delivers on like the raunchy, gross out, like, sex comedy stuff, but it's like all the scenes I'm mentioning like are where it's at, but like it's just, the thing is, like, the characters aren't likable or like charismatic enough for like me to care about the whole movie. Like, some of the scenes are fun, but and the thing is, like, even though they're fun, it's like it's shit that we've seen before. Like, the whole, like I said, the whole thing in the beginning was fun, but it's like we've already seen that in Police Academy. Like, this movie isn't really doing anything new. It's like kind of like a time waster. It's like, if you're in the mood for like, you know, a raunchy college comedy, it's cool. Like, if you're trying to watch something that you haven't seen before, but like if you're just not trying to rewatch something, then it's cool. But it's like, you'd be better off just rewatching like some of the American Pie movies, or just rewatching the first Van Wilder. But anyways, just moving on to more likes. The two guys from the American Pie Presents movies, I already talked about that. It was cool seeing them. The character Yu, he was pretty darn funny. He was like, uh, he was Asian. He moved from another country, and he was just coming to America. So he was kind of like Taj, where he was like, he moved and he's trying to like totally get like the American college experience. He's trying to party it up. So he had quite a few funny lines, so I liked his character. And then the last thing I wrote in my likes is there was like a lot of cool pop punk pop punk music, which a lot of these like college movies from the 2000s, you got the pop punk music. I can't speak English. They have the pop punk music, so I mean, it's good. I like it. It goes with the theme. It's cool. Gets you in the mood. All good. So now I'm jumping into my dislikes here. Yeah, there was just like too much of the army stuff. I didn't really get that, because it was like, okay, like in the first movie that takes place after, there's like none of that. I mean, I can understand if there's like a little bit of ROTC, but like the dean is like this military guy, and it's like the whole school is military, and it just like, it was just weird after seeing the first movie. Like, like, it was just like a totally different school. Like, it wasn't believable that this is the same school. Um, and then so like Van's two buddies are Yu and this stoner guy named Farley. And like I said, Yu I like for the most part, but he's not like as iconic as Taj from the first one, who's played by Cal Penn, from the Harold and Kumar movies. So I mean, it's hard to top him. He's like a pretty iconic character. He's a recognizable actor. I like him in a lot of stuff. So these guys, I mean, the stoner guy, he has a couple funny lines, but he's not as funny as Yu. And Yu and Farley are like, they're barely in the movie. Like, they don't really like add that much. They don't like really like develop their characters. Like, they'll just like pop in every once in a while and like say a funny joke, and it's like sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. So like the supporting characters in this, I feel like were like way not as good as Taj from the first one. What else? Yeah, like the plot was kind of lame. Like, the whole climax is like they play capture the flag. Like, it's kind of stupid. Yeah, the romance was kind of forced. Like it was basically like, I mean, the girl, like, her and her boyfriend were like perfect for each other. They were like both these military people. It's like, yeah, he was kind of a dick, and it's like, yeah, he wasn't giving it to her like that. She was her sexual needs were not getting met. But it's like her and Van were like complete opposites. Like, I feel like they didn't. It was like a forced relationship. They didn't really have any chemistry, and they just like immediately like started liking each other, and it's like they didn't really have anything in common. I mean, he didn't really like do anything to like woo her. Like, he just like pulled up in his golf cart and like gave her a drink, and then she's like, "Oh, you're so romantic." Like, I don't know, the romance wasn't. It was just there. Like they just put it in there just because. Like, I don't know. It wasn't that like believable. I don't know. But and then yeah, okay, the last thing I wrote for my dislikes is, okay, they didn't it's a prequel, but like they didn't explore Van's character at all. So like they established that he was the valedictorian at his high school, and then in the first movie he's a slacker, but they didn't like talk about that at all, like how he, like, it's just like he was like the valedictorian, but he was like, it was like immediately established that he was like the party guy, and then once he got to school he was still the party guy, but there was nothing about like him being a slacker and like why he's in college for so long and like what happened. Like he was getting really good grades and he was on top of his academics, and then he just like goes to like not caring about school. Like they didn't explore that at all. That would have been interesting to know, because like in the first one I don't think you know that like he used to, you know, be like on top of his schoolwork. So it's like it would have been cool to see like how did he get from, you know, where he was in high school to like his attitude in college. They didn't explore that at all. And then they kind of like hint that he has like some issues with his dad, but they don't explore that at all. Like, it's a prequel. Like, get into his character a little more. Like, I mean, it's like a gross out college sex comedy, but I mean still like that. Just get into his. They didn't get into his character at all. Like, the only things, it's like, okay, here's how we got his dog, here's how we got his golf cart, but like other than that, it's like they don't show like how he became the person that he is in the first movie, and it's like it's just a missed opportunity. It's like a prequel. You don't have to do that much character building. It's a direct to DVD, you know, like sex comedy, college comedy, but like just like give me like something, just like a little bit, you know? It's like you're gonna like mention that he's got this problem with his dad, like explore it a little bit. You're gonna like mention how he was like on the right track, and then now he's just like a total, you know, slacker. Like I would just like a little bit more fleshing out of all these ideas. That's it. So pretty much that. I can't speak in any video. I pretty much talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Like I said, there were some fun moments in this movie. I didn't hate it, but overall, I thought it was pretty lame. I thought it was kind of boring. I didn't really care that much about the characters. I would say I don't recommend this one. I would say skip it and just stick with the first one. This one's really not worth your time, and it doesn't add anything. Like, so what's the point? So yeah, basically don't waste your time with this. Stick with the first one. And that's that. So that has been my review of Van Wilder freshman year. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.